It is time for another BKXC podcast for July 2019. If you're watching the video version of this, I've got something weird going on with my right eye here. It's freaking me out. I'm probably going to die within a couple months. So it was a good run. I'm glad you were all here and getting me through it so far. It's probably just a zit. So, Japan. What an amazing, amazing trip that was. It was unbelievable, really, how good all the trails were and how untouched everything was. And it was completely magical. But it does turn out that some of the locals weren't so stoked on our use of the trails and etiquette, trail etiquette. Respect is such a huge thing in Japan. And yeah, we kind of cowboy styled dropped in, figured out some trails and rode them and had an amazing time. But it did offend some of the locals. I would guess mostly because those are their favorite trails and they really, really, really don't want anyone finding out about them. There's other trails everywhere. You know, there are sanctioned trails, but these were just old hiking trails that it appeared that no one had ridden these in hundreds of years. With the amount of trail work that had been done, you know, clearing logs and that kind of stuff. We were clearing logs a bunch, and Matt, our guide at League of Trail, had gone early. You know, he'd gone a week early and gone on a bunch of the trails and cleared them out and made sure they were rideable. So, yeah, I hate the renegade trail thing. Mountain biking is such a renegade trail. It's such a renegade sport, and that's such a part of it. It's an outlaw sport from the beginning, but it does disappoint me. It does hurt to know, like, damn it, I don't want people mad at me. I don't want people thinking that I'm going to blow this thing up. And, you know, I try my best not to show the trail entrances and the trail exits, and didn't do any GPS mapping of anything, even though that's how Matt found out about the trails. He was able to figure out from Strava and videos and stuff that, okay, here's the trails and let's go find them out. Let's see if they're actually good and ride them. So, of course, you see a bunch of white guys coming down these trails. You think worst case scenario that there's going to be 1 million people riding these trails and the trails are going to get shut down because people are going to get mad and scared that there's mountain bikers coming out. So it sucks. I've gone back and forth on the subject of, no, I cannot ride any illegal trails. I can't do it. But it's just a sham because, you know, I'm the most visual person, but if you look at any kind of pro rider or something like that, yeah, I've seen, you know, the Yeti factory team riding a bunch of illegal trails in Santa Cruz when I was out there riding a bunch of illegal trails. And those guys' careers are built off of illegal trails. You can't get really, really good unless you're riding really crazy shit. And those guys can't just go out humdrumming around on multi-use flow trails. They've got to find like the crazy stuff to get good. And there is crazy stuff out there for sure, but I don't know where this argument is going. I feel so conflicted. I feel so torn. I feel like, you know, in Spain, there's definitely stuff that, you know, Doug from Basque MTB does not want on Strava, doesn't want, you know, people to know about. Some of it's trails that they built themselves that they want to protect for their business. And yeah, it's like, do I just tell anyone I go on a trip with? It's like, hey, I'm putting this on Strava, period. Like, you can either have me or not have me, but it's going on Strava. You have to, you know, but then I put it on Strava and somebody gets mad at me, and I don't know. I always try to leave it up to the tour operator, the guide, the local person on the ground to know what's best. So, but all this stuff always blows over almost immediately. Like, it really doesn't have a lasting impact. It's very much a scared thing. Like, oh my God, there's all these people are going to come. Oh my God, they're going to find out. And then nothing ever comes of it, kind of thing. So, especially when you're on the inside, when you know the trail so well, you're like, oh, you showed exactly how to get in and how to get. It's like, yeah, good luck. I'm sure tons of people are going to make the effort to really find it. And yeah, but when it's a commercial guiding thing, yeah, it's tough. So that's my thoughts. I'm conflicted on that. I'd love to hear what you think about that, because there's so many sides of the story. You know, I want to get trails built, and I feel like the only way to do it is to build them and then ask for forgiveness. And that's such a weird way to do it, but that's the world we live in. So one controversial subject onto another. How about them e-bikes, huh? They are starting to look really, really nice. There was a Comensal e-bike that came up on my Instagram feed recently, and I was like, holy crap, it is so close to the dream. where you can't tell that it's an e-bike. It's so cool. Like the Specialized, like the Turbo Levo, I think is starting to look pretty stealth. And then the YT Decoy, it's pretty good. I think its paint scheme is going to really kind of make it blend in. And of course they're going for it with the name, the Decoy. But yeah, I'm digging it. I need to get myself an e-bike, and it's just one of those things where it's like, if you spend the money, it's almost immediately outdated. You know, the one that's coming next year is going to be so much better. And it's not something that I would use every day. It's something I would use to do trail work. It's something I would use to get my dad out on the bike. It's something that would get put to use, but it's not going to be a daily driver. It's going to be a cobweb collector for most of the time. So it's like, it's not a huge priority. And speaking of my dad, we just finished up a nice, cool project out on the deck over here, and the new deck, spoiler alert, and that's going to be in one of my videos very, very soon. There's a few in the queue until that one comes out, and yeah, it's a very interesting thing with the e-bikes and older guys, and when he comes and works with me after, he can get really tight and broke down and sore for the next couple days, and I got to figure out a way to get him on the old HGH and the steroids. I think it's really expensive, but man, if you're past the crest, if you've crested, if your body is starting to feel like it's breaking down, I see no downside whatsoever from getting on the juice, except for I think it's expensive, and you probably have to go to some fucking quack doctor kind of thing to make it happen, like a regenerative doctor or something. But I've never done any drugs in my life, but I will be the first in line for some steroids when I hit like 52 or something. Once the levels start dropping, or maybe they are now. I don't think so, because I've been doing pretty good with soreness and CrossFit and everything. So I think my testosterone is all still going pretty good for now. I actually hit an all-time record high of my weight at 159 pounds. So I will soon be in the 160s for the first time in my life. I've spent pretty much all my life my adult life between 150 and 155. So watch out world. I'm getting jacked. But yeah, I don't know how to subtly hint at my dad to be like, hey, what do you think about doing some steroids? I think it's the answer. I 100% think it's the answer. I'm sure that's a very controversial thing. I think that we are all going to be on steroids in 20 years, 15 years, when medicine just starts ramping up, when this technology stuff really starts to dig deep into our hormones and understanding what's going on with us, that it's all going to be, oh yeah, you got to take we're not going to call them steroids. We're going to call them something else. And it's like, oh yeah, you're age defier. You got to take that. And then boom, you're normal again. You're not aging. Huh. Amazing. But, yeah, I'm curious what you guys think. I think that's kind of my biggest crackpot theory on, rejuvenation and health. I think the steroids probably aren't good for the old left ventricle, but other than that, I have got merch coming. I am doing a relaunch of my store. I'm going to take everything off of Teespring, and I'm going to do it myself. Not really, kind of, sort of. I've got a guy that is going to do fulfillment for me. He's doing production for me, and it is looking really, really good. I've got some hats coming. I've got jerseys and socks and stuff from Hand Up Gloves on the way, and I just wanted to give a little hint, a little tidbit, because it's coming. I'll post it on Patreon first when it's ready to go, and we will be launching hard. And I'm curious to see if I'll be able to sell stuff out and do some oh, okay, I need to order more. And it was a big investment, many thousands of dollars to order 200 hats and 200 shirts and some, I don't know what you call it, like a thermos kind of thing, like a stainless steel kind of thing, not quite like my therma flask here, my hydro flask here, but kind of a different stainless steel kind of tumbler thing, like those Yeti tumblers. So just a big investment, but hoping for a big return, because hey, that is like, some people can't wrap their head around the Patreon thing of supporting $3 a month and just having that recurring fee. My brother is one of them. It's just like, they're just so, against that. But people have no problem buying stuff. It's just like so easy to buy stuff, and, a hat, I might make $5 off a hat or something like that. So it's like, boom, that's a nice $5, like supporting for a month or half a month on Patreon, whatever it is. But So yeah, so I've got these, these various outlays of capital right now, and hoping to, that will all go smoothly. The shipping to international is going to go off without a hitch, and supposedly the shipping rates internationally are going to be very, very favorable. So, normally with Teespring and stuff, it's kind of crappier or twice as expensive if you're going to try to order stuff. So I am hoping for a very smooth, awesome experience, and hoping to hear your guys' feedback as well in the comments or wherever you want to email me, like if stuff is working or it's not working, because I think it's a huge opportunity. It's something I've always been like, oh, yeah, I've done a shirt here and there. But if I really get it scheduled down and really try to treat it like a business, right, that it will actually really pay dividends. And it just has to be cool shit. That's all there is to it. Like, I think the hat is going to look really good. It's not going to be some blaring, loud colors. It's very subdued, like black and charcoal colors, and something I would have no problem wearing all around. And like, okay, would my dad actually want to wear this? Would my brother actually want to wear this? That's the measuring stick. This is the first month in a long time where I didn't listen to like 3 or 4 audiobooks. I barely got through one audiobook, and it's kind of sort of like meh. And I think that's kind of what happens, where it's good enough, but I'm not going to give up on it. And I've just kind of put my time and effort into other things. But I have been listening to a bunch of clips of Howard Stern, and it's so good. He's such a great interviewer. And on YouTube, they're just these little tiny 3-minute clips, and it's like, oh, I want more, and I want more. And you're just like hunting and pecking and trying to look through for his interview stuff. But I'm like just so impressed by his interviews and his ability to really get into it. He was talking to Conan O'Brien and just kind of talking about the evolution of Howard Stern, how, back in the day, it was edgy to, bring in strippers and do a bunch of raunchy stuff. But now it's edgy to sit down and have like a real conversation and cut through the bullshit. And I think it's such a true thing. That's what's edgy, is getting deep and getting into, our feelings and our fears and all that stuff. So it's very inspiring for me. I've wanted to do more interview stuff. I've got some ideas on how to do it. I haven't put the effort in to like nail down people and see if I could get stuff going. I'll be up in Whistler soon, so hopefully there's, random people up there that are interesting to me that I would love to talk to, and you guys I'm sure would love to hear from, that would fit the bill pretty nicely. So that's a little inspiration I've been chewing on from Howard Stern. All right, let's get into the questiones. Chump MTB is stoked to see the EWS 100 vids from all of you. I'm going to be doing the Whistler EWS, which is like the 100 version, against a bunch of other YouTube guys, and it's going to be pretty fun to see how that all comes together, if I'll do good or not. Some real tough competition. Josh from Daily Mountain Bike Rider is really good. Van Can, really good. Jordan Boostmaster, really good. Eric, BCPOV, really good. I'm sure Paul the Punter is going to give me a run for my money, so I'm afraid of everyone in the EWS 100. But his question, Chump MTB's question, is with BC Bike Race right around the corner, how prepared do you feel at this point? Prepared enough. I always would like to be stronger, but it's funny. Paul the Punter shared with me a video about packing for BC Bike Race, and watching that video I was like, oh my god, I'm not prepared at all. I need to watch this video like 5 times. And actually tomorrow I'm driving up to BC, so when you guys see this, I'll be on the road to BC, and it's like, oh god, that actually freaked me out more than anything, of like, I gotta have this, I gotta have that. I would have forgot to pack this and forgot to pack that. So right after this podcast is finished, I'm gonna start exporting all the videos that I need to upload before I leave, and watch that packing video once again, and put the old checklist together, and make it happen. But 7 days of racing, it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be hard. There's nothing you can do. You can only control what you can control, and at this point, there ain't no magic wand, even steroids or EPO or whatever. There's nothing that's going to change anything between now and next week of starting the race. So that's fine. I just don't really care. I don't have anxiety about that stuff. I've always kind of been that way. You put the effort in when the effort matters, and that's what training is. And then you show up and you get your ass kicked if you didn't. And there's no... I know I'm not going to... It is what it is. I'm just hoping against hope that there's a lot of good fire road climbing, so we can at least get strung out, and it's not just a road rage thing where I embarrass myself and yell at people to get out of the way on the descents. Marco S. wants to know if I've ever considered getting in touch with pros like Paul the Punter did with Tracy Hanna or Remy Gavin. And yes, of course. Yeah, I'd love to ride with Jesse Melamed. If the thing is, it's like... do these guys really want to spend any time and like with some friggin' dumbass and like be like, oh yeah, you should try this or you should try that? I mean, and then shoot, Yohan Borelli. I don't know if I'm actually pronouncing that right. Yohan Borelli. He's got a YouTube channel. It's like Jesse Melamed, Yohan Borelli got a YouTube channel, and Remy Metalier has a YouTube channel now too. And it just falls into this old pit of mine where it's like, these guys wouldn't want to hang out with me normally. Maybe I think they're nice enough guys and stuff, but it's like, the only reason they would want to spend time with some dumbass that can't really ride that great is because I also have a YouTube channel that helps promote. I don't know. I'll do it. I love doing it. I would like to like meet them, and I'm sure they're genuine, but I don't know why I have such a problem with that, of just like that the number is all I am to most people, and just searching for genuine, real connections out there. And I've found a few. I have found a few, though, which is always great. We're on the psychiatrist table right now. Hunt Style wants to see me ride with Reggie Miller. Hell yeah, I really want to ride with Reggie Miller as well. And I just don't think it could be a normal BKXC video. Maybe it could be. I don't know. And that gets to a question later on that I'll expound on a little bit more. But I want to ride with Reggie Miller for sure. If you don't know who Reggie Miller is, he is one of the greatest basketball players of all time, an NBA Hall of Famer, just one of the greats. And to be able to hang out with someone who excelled so much in something that is so tough and that millions and millions of people are trying to break into, much like YouTube, where anybody could do it, but the pinnacle of the pinnacle of the pinnacle, like, rise to the top. And like, what did that take? And try to get to the heart of the matter of him. And if you don't know the story of Reggie Miller, his older sister Cheryl is one of the greatest basketball players of all time, period, and the greatest women's basketball player of all time. And so he always kind of lived in her shadow a little bit and always was pushed by that. So I think there's such a cool dynamic there. Jordan Yothers wants to see me ride some flat pedals. Yeah, I think that will happen eventually. I think I just got to come up with a decent idea. I can see myself riding flat pedals and the video just being like, yeah, great, I rode flat pedals. Like, that's the title, that's the clickbait, and then it just being a big nothing. So it's like, oh, great, I made this video where it's a big nothing. Much like any kind of ideas where I'm like, okay, I'm going to do some jumping practice, and I try to make a video about jumping practice, and I'm like, nothing happened in this video. It's the same old shit. This is not a video. And so I just scrap it. So I at some point there will be some reason, some hook where the flat pedals make sense and it's kind of fun, and I'm willing to do it. It's just, yeah, it's just not that imperative to me. Feldy Bikes wants to know why I haven't tried to do another episode of Wheels Down. And this is a really good question. It's about 100 times longer. I just boiled that down. But his analogy was like, hey, man, you were willing to, throw everything on the line, to quit your job, to do YouTube. And why aren't you willing to do the same kind of thing for Wheels Down and just keep trying and keep making more episodes? And, really, I like the idea of Wheels Down. I just don't think it needs to, it just involves so many people. It's ridiculous. So the first one was just me and Alex, the director and the cameraman, but it's like he wants to get some more people involved and do some more. Like, we need a sound guy, we need this guy, we need that. It's like, it's just become such a production. It's such an old school thing that, we need like 10 guys to be able to put this on, where it's like nothing we did, like, there wasn't enough, right? There was just things that were like, man, I could do this. I would like to have a cameraman. Like, that would be very nice if I could just have my brother follow me around kind of thing. Like, hey, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. I think we could do it. We could do the same kind of idea, more YouTube-y version, more vloggy version, more BKXC version, without taking it to the old school media version, just that way over on the other side version where you have to get so many people involved and it costs so much. You're spending all this time, all this money, a week's worth of time to get one video out that nobody really cared that much about. People liked it for sure, but then you go to Japan for a week and you get 8 videos out and they're all friggin' awesome, and it's more to the heart of the matter of like what we're doing. I would like some more balance there. I would like to do even better videos, more stuff from Japan, stuff like that. I think there is a balance there for sure, but Yeah, I'm not as stoked on the wheels down thing. That doesn't mean I'm not stoked on showing off the world and showing off amazing trails and amazing food and bringing you guys even deeper into the experience. And yeah, just got to get my brother to quit his job and be my cameraman. He's the only person I trust in this world. Omar Figueroa wants me to hit up Annandale State Park or Jack London Park. I did hit up Annandale recently. That was the video with riding with my mountain bike mentor or mountain bike hero, Scott Nickel, Chuck Ibis, a.k.a. And then Jack London Park, I have heard about it. My buddy Tom, who took me on a bunch of, the San Francisco single track video and the recent Marin County single track, he has been trying to get me to go to Jack London Park. Maybe, yeah, Sonoma Mountain / Jack London Park. I think it's the same thing, but he's been trying to get me out there forever, so I will get back out there. It's just not going to be this summer or fall since everything's booked up till November right now. So Charles Kim, this is the question that I had referenced earlier that I was going to get to later. Do you feel more pressure now to create content, i.e. location, the story, the ride, in your videos than when you decided to go all in full time back when? It's so interesting. I'm kind of reading between the lines here. I think you meant more than what you said, so that my videos have to have some kind of idea or some kind of story versus like, hey, I'm just going to go for a ride and record my ride. And yes, I do feel that nowadays that if I'm going to go for a ride, like if I'm by myself, I know I can talk and talk and talk and talk and that something cool will actually come out of it and that always fun stuff happens on a mountain bike ride. But if I'm just going to go for a ride with like a buddy or a guy that I've ridden with before, and it's like, what's the deal? What's the story? What's the interesting angle? What are we doing? And especially if they don't talk or if they're not super, you don't have to be like Madman, like Alexander Single Track Sampler, like super cool energy and like, oh my God, it's so fun. But if there's such a bizarre zone there where it's like, okay, I'm riding with this person. Like, okay, do they want to be in the video? Or they're really fast or like they're gone. Okay, I'm going to just talk to myself now. Like it is something I very, very much think about now because you see it in Seth's videos and Alexander's videos now where they think of a concept and the concept is what becomes the video. And that is so much more powerful. It reaches so many more people. It tells so much a better story than, all right, I'm just going to go for this ride and what happens. And every once in a while, once a month or so, that just going out on a whim really brings a ton of people into the channel and they see it and they're like, whoa, this is super cool. But normally it's just kind of all right, this is just a progression of me riding. And here's the story for today, where the story could just be like, yeah, that was okay. Cool. I'm sure you guys enjoy them, but I definitely have the feeling more and more where it's like, I can't just go out and record a ride. I gotta like, what's the deal here? What's the goal? What are we trying to accomplish? Like, what's it going to look like? What's, and it's the nature of the beast, this entertainment here and trying to always think of how to do better. And I think Alex and Seth have just killed it. Like Alex is just killing it with the once a week-ish videos. Like his videos just have told some awesome stories, and that's all this is about, is entertaining stories. So I think about it, and I'm never afraid to go for a ride by myself because I know I can talk and talk. But when it's like other people involved, it's like, what do they want? How that, like, that's when it kind of like it throws a wrench into it a little bit when that's like an unknown quantity of like, okay, I'm going to record this. Don't be disappointed if it doesn't become anything, but it usually does. Jeremy Rigby wants to know if I have a favorite trail in Santa Cruz. Yeah, I love the Flow Trail. I really, really love the Flow Trail. It is a multi-million-dollar work of art. I don't know if it costs multi-million, but multi-100,000, I'm sure. So very stupid expensive, but it just rides so good. I love it. Arvid Richter wants to know, why not try to equip other people who are riding with me with the gimbal so they can follow me? So it's kind of a common thing. People love to see me ride for sure. The thing is, it's like the video isn't really about me riding. It's about me talking. Like, I don't know if maybe I've pulled this magic trick on everyone, but you can watch a million videos of a million people not talking and not being entertaining. I know it would be really cool to see me riding. I know that is actually good, and we do want to see it, and I should find a way to put it in. But like, you give the gimbal to someone else, you are giving away total control of how the video is going to come out. And I've done it, and it's come out okay like once or twice. And They don't know what they're doing. You're putting the gimbal on some random person and they're sweating in it. They're not talking. They're breathing hard. Like you're saying, hey, buddy, hey, I'm James Cameron here. I'm going to give the camera over to someone else and see how it turns out. But your point is well taken. I think it would be cool to see me riding more, but that's pretty much how you gotta see it on somebody else's channel and not mine. Phoenix Matt wants to know what the camera setup for BC Bike Race is going to be. It's going to be the same as I've been using since I experimented with the Hero 7. The Hero 4 is the camera I've been using forever, and I'm still using it, and I'm using the Karma Grip. And the Karma Grip allows me to charge up the gimbal and charge up the GoPro camera with one battery dongle, and I'm just going to switch that dongle out during the race. Probably bring 3 dongles with me, and if the like once every 90 minutes or so, switch out the dongle. And, the race days are probably only going to be 2 hours, 2.5 hours each day. So I'll be good to go. Just got to keep charging, keep on charging. Sean Carter wants to know if I have any goals pertaining to fitness or if I have another level of fitness in mind. I always do. I always would love to get more fit, and I just never make it a priority. I've been going to CrossFit a lot, and it's been a good new addiction, and it's time that I probably could have spent on my bike riding around and kind of doing the same trails as always, harder and getting into the monotonous training thing or getting on the trainer. But it's tough to sink into the monotony that it takes to train. And the CrossFit stuff is different every single day. It's very addictive. It's very tough. I feel like I'm getting stronger. I just ran like a 6:01 mile yesterday. So I'm feeling pretty damn good on that front. But it's not the same as riding and getting stronger. And I don't think I'm ever really going to do it. I don't know. I don't think I'm ever going to be a cross-country racer. Hopefully I can I want to get myself strong enough to do like Trans NZ, Trans Rockies, Trans Cascadia, like be a multi-day enduro racer. That's what I think would be the most fun and crazy and push myself kind of thing. And also make great videos, which is a side effect of me chasing stuff that would be really fun. But yeah, it just gets strong in that respect, which those guys are no slouches at all when it comes to cardio fitness, but it's not XC racing. I have to be honest. I think Moab Rocks and BC Bike Race are going to be the only 2 amazing, crazy, really good XC races that exist. Like even the Cape Epic, you see like stuff, it's in South Africa. You see stuff and it's like, oh man, that looks beautiful. And then you watch more and it's like, all right, they're on a fire road for 2 hours now, or like it doesn't seem the same. Where the Moab Rock stuff, the trails in Moab were just unreal, amazing. And then BC Bike Race, I'm sure we're going to get some just perfect, badass single track racing and just having fun. We're just going to have some really good fun. Bill Sportswelder wants to know if I'm going to do another bike packing trip like the one I did with BC POV. I don't have any plans to, but I'm sure Eric is going to be up in Whistler at the same time I'm going to be up in Whistler. And if we feel like we've got 3 days to get away from it all and make some videos, why not? Maybe we will. I haven't talked to him about it, though. Alan Hartfield wants to know if I have any plans to hit Scandinavia. No, but I don't have any direct plans, but I've been hearing more and more about it, and I am in touch with people who can make it happen. So it is actually more of a possibility than it ever was, and Norway just seems like unreal. If it's actually dry and in summer, that just looks like the coolest, rockiest, neatest place. Tim Newsom wants to know, now that I've gone to different countries, is there something that makes Czech riders Czech or Australian riders Aussie? Yeah, the Australians and New Zealanders always have really good slang. It's just really good because they're still speaking English, so the language barrier doesn't kind of like interrupt the slang. The Czech guys, they're super fun and super cool. They had all kinds of silly, fun stuff, but the Aussie stuff just translates better, like Matt calling everybody a loose unit, and I love that kind of stuff. And yeah, we're all the same. We're all really the same. We just love mountain biking and single track and challenges and goofing around. Luke Nisley, which makes me think I've probably been calling you Luke Kinsley in previous posts. That's how I've been reading it, and I've just read it now. Like, wait, no, it's Nisley. He wants to know, sorry about that if I had been, You've traveled to many interesting places across the globe. What's the most unique travel experience you've had? It has to be Tibet. That was extremely unique. Being in China, being at 15,000 feet elevation, in the friggin' glaciers, getting chased by the yak or charged by the yak, sleeping at night in these weird huts that are just out in the middle of nowhere with no heat and just being cold as hell inside a sleeping bag. And it was amazing. It was just really an amazing travel experience, and seeing these cultures, meeting people that have definitely never seen white people before, just like, whoa, what the heck is this? And just being out there. There was so many great memories from that, and I captured so many of them in that series that I love it. I love being able to look back at that and just relive the craziness of it. I can't wait till my niece is 20 weeks old now. I don't know why I do it. It's like 5 months, right? But it'll be cool when maybe she's like 7 or 8, maybe she'll be interested. Probably younger, she'll be interested. But when she's like 7 or 8, she might actually be able to remember. Like if we sit down and like, hey, let's watch Uncle Brian's Tibet trip that he did before you were born. And, she might actually be able to get something out of it. And I'll watch it then, in 8 years and forget about stuff that's like, oh yeah, I remember that. I didn't remember that. Will Desmond wants to know how much time I spend editing at my computer. Well, every video is about 5 or 6 hours for me between the editing and the title and description and thumbnail and Patreon and making sure it actually got uploaded and that it's actually 4K and all that. It's 5 or 6 hours per video. My brother helped me out with quite a few videos between the Czech Republic and Japan because I had such a crazy turnaround time, and having him help edit those videos and me being able to look at like a final version and glance through and fix stuff at the end was super cool. And we're going to hopefully keep that going while I'm in BC for BC Bike Race, because I'm not going to have any time to get these things cranked out. There's still a couple to go while I'm leaving, but yeah, mostly it's 5 or 6 hours per video, but it's so much more. So that's only 2 videos a week, so that's only 10 hours a week with the video. There's a lot more to it, and it's all intangible emails and all that stuff you would imagine of just never enough time in the world. Mindless Indolence has a really good comment. He would like to see more interaction with the people I meet and ride with, because personality makes the video. And I think this is a great comment. I agree 100%. The thing is, not everyone has a good personality, and trying to pull that out of them, most people are very shy. When you stick a camera in their face and you try to joke around, it doesn't actually work that much. I can sense immediately when people are shying away from the camera, when they feel uncomfortable, and I pretty much, to a fault, don't put people on the spot. If we're riding and I've got the gimbal out, it's a whole different situation, because people don't shy away from the gimbal. They forget the gimbal is even recording, and they'll be themselves 100%. But to actually get more out of people, they have to be willing to be a ham. They have to buy in, and they have to actually, kind of express themselves, which is that's the like, public speaking is the most feared thing. Like, people don't want to come out of their shell. Like, people don't want to be on camera. People don't want to. So I'm very sensitive to trying to pull people out and make it happen. But I'm guessing 99% of you guys in the comments, like, you think like, oh, it'd be so cool to be in a video, and then I've got the camera in your face and you're like, oh, I've got nothing to say here. I look like an idiot. Oh, so definitely a good comment. I'm gonna have to make people take a personality test before I ride with them. I'm gonna have them submit a video audition before I go riding with people. But you get where I'm coming from, right? I agree. I think the videos are always better. That's why, riding with Alexander, that first day I rode with Alexander, I was like, oh my God, this guy's a crazy. He's so, he loves this so much that his real personality just shoots out of him at every angle and every orifice. Mountain Core says, one thing you've said over the years is you really want to build trail. Is that something you're still interested in? Any advancements on that front? Yes, it's something that I'm very, very interested in, and it's really about, what's the next step? What's the conversations I need to have? I think there's opportunities here in Vallejo for me to do that, to be involved. I just actually have to have the conversations with the politicians and get into politics, like that, or start building trails and then see if we can get them, pulled in otherwise. So it's something that is very much, I want to be my legacy eventually. And it's one of those things where you think you need like all this money and clout and stuff like that. So that's what stops me from doing it, is like, oh no, we're gonna have to go through the EIR report, and the EIR is gonna be $80,000 at least, and we're gonna have to do this, and people politically aren't gonna want it, so you're gonna have to go up for a political battle. And that's all in my head. That's not actual things that I've encountered. That's just things I've heard from people time and time and time again. So that's the genesis of the slowing of it. And, I'm so focused on getting good videos out. That's part of it. But that's kind of an excuse versus something I really, really want to do and make happen. And these hills between Vallejo and Cordelia, where I grew up, are just massive rolling hills. It's windy as hell, and it probably would be kind of shitty mountain biking, but man, how cool would it be to get trails out there? It's the dream for sure. Adam West wants to know, with the sponsorship deal you had with Sun Tour, were you free to express your genuine feeling about how you felt on the ride? Yes, there was no instructions from Sun Tour whatsoever. The only deal that we make when we do a sponsorship, Paul the punter is my guy who puts together the sponsorships, is that if something breaks, we talk about it in the video, but we give the company a first right of response. So it's like, boom, some wheel broke, or something broke on the BMC during the BC bike race. Okay, I talk about it in the video because it happened, and then we email BMC immediately and say, hey guys, this is what happened, like, do you have a response? And that's like where it gets fishy, but I'm on a release schedule. I'm going to get my video out, and I'm not going to wait to have BMC get back to me. Like, if they're going to drag their feet on something like, oh yeah, send the bike in, then we're going to do some carbon testing and all that stuff. So the hope is, if something like that did happen, that they would have a prompt response and be like, oh my God, we think this is what happened. Maybe we've seen this before. We've never seen this before. Like, who knows? Like, yeah, so that there was going to be true transparency from me and from the company. The company's going to have their opportunity to feed their company line for what they think happened, because they are the experts on their product. And if it is a true warranty weird thing that they've seen, like, oh no, we've seen this in a few cases because this gets stressed and this happens. And yeah, so we aim for transparency. There is no dictation of how you feel and how, okay, don't say this, don't say that. It's all, if they're getting into bed with BKXC, they should know what they're getting into bed with. Tim Cat wants to know if I've ever traveled to a place and at the end I wanted to see more touristy stuff. Yes, of course, everywhere. Like, I didn't get to see Prague at all, Japan, everywhere I'd love to see more of. But I kind of feel like stuff starts to blend in, and it kind of starts to be the same when it's touristy stuff. I think that would change if I had a woman to just go hang out with and, be by my side and enjoy this touristy stuff more, because then you're kind of hanging out and, you're spending time together, you're making memories, versus me and my camera phone taking pictures and being like, hey, I was here. All right, cool. Rock and roll, next place. Wade Robbins with a pretty damn good question. If you could redo any video of yours, which one would you redo and why? For me, it's the Quebec City stuff. When Sentier du Malon, which if you listen to this podcast, I've been talking about it nonstop for probably the past year, and I'm hoping to get back there I don't know when. I'm getting back there this summer, hopefully. And it was just the best riding. It was just an amazing scene, and the quality of the video was kind of crappy because it was the in and out of the sun, and I would kill to do that video again. So when I go back, I'm either going to get up at the crack of dawn and make sure the lighting is amazing, or go in the evening and make sure the lighting is amazing. And I've been thinking about that more and more with my videos. When I have control over the time that I can actually go out and ride, that's the lighting it's so key. That's why the Czech Republic and Japan stuff looks so good, at least the initial Japan stuff, because it was overcast, and it just gives it this unreal look. And then, later on we're more in the trees and it's in and out and it's harsh lighting. And, I've made my bed with the GoPro Hero 4. That's kind of part of the problem, but it can still get amazing shots when you have the right light. And I'm getting way too deep into inside baseball here, but so Quebec City, those trails were the best, and I did not do my job by making everyone really, really know and see that those were the best trails ever, and how much I think about them, how much I want to get back to them. The performance of those videos was subpar compared to what they offered. Chris Johnson is digging the Japan videos. I love when I've seen people and recognize people in the comments, and they're like, "Man, this is your best series yet." I'm having a big hill to climb. I have big shoes to fill? No, just have to keep outdoing myself. That's the theme. I'm losing my words. I'm losing my mind right now. That's the phrase I was looking for. He wants to know if I have any plans in the future to visit Northwest Arkansas, Texas, or maybe New Mexico. I do not. November's probably a pretty good time to visit Texas, but nope, no plans. I would love to get back to Northwest Arkansas. I know they're building 2 miles a week out there, so the longer I wait, the more miles there will be. Paul, the punter, has made an appearance. He wants to know, is there somewhere in the world that isn't known at all for bike riding that you would do a complete adventure trip? Or, as you said before, do you only want to ride quality trails? An adventure trip where I have to okay, we're going to cross the Panama Canal. It's got to be something that's kind of been done. I'm not as much of a adventure person where I could just look at a map and be like, okay, we're going to do this. Here's what we're going to do. And we're going to connect this dot to this. So it has to be at least traveled at some point by someone and know that it's kind of possible. But on those kinds of trips, you need a personality with you. You need someone that you can riff off of, that isn't afraid to talk to the camera, that isn't afraid to pick up the camera and start talking and interject. If you're going to do something where, it's going to be a multi-day thing like that, that's what I think. I think the adventure itself kind of lends itself to that, and maybe you don't need the big personality, but, it's something where maybe it's a 7-day trip, but you only get one video out of it, and then it's super cool because there's all these moments and condensed things versus my mind always goes to 7-day trip, 7 videos. That's what I want to get out of it. Every day should be able to tell its own story. But if not, it doesn't matter. But yeah, I'm open to it. I'm open to gravel grinding, some big old thing. But when my mind goes to nothingness, and then kind of interesting things every once in a while versus mountain biking where it's just, oh my God, this it's just nonstop action. So as long as I could craft the story around it and the videos came out good, why not? Tony Mosa wants to know, do I have a favorite animal encounter? Yes, I do. My favorite animal encounter was many years ago with my Uncle Dennis, who got me into the outdoors and got me into mountain biking. We were not on our bikes, but we were in Yosemite National Park for the first time. It was my first time going. It was his first time going. We were hiking over towards Mirror Lake. We got up super early in the morning, maybe left our hometown at 4 a.m. and got there by 8 a.m. and it might have even been earlier than that. Whatever it was early, and there was nobody around for some reason. So me and him were hiking towards Mirror Lake, and it was still on the pavement, and we saw a bobcat. And it was just not scared of us at all. It was the size of a little dog, and it had a little tail on it that was wagging, like a little shortened tail. And it was like such a amazing experience. Like within the first 50 feet of us in our little Yosemite hike adventure, we see this bobcat, and it just didn't care about us, and it was like, man, it was really neat. And then we get to hiking maybe 20 minutes down the trail. We're actually on the trail now that goes around Mirror Lake, and we see a mama bear and 2 cubs. And it's like, what? This is crazy. So we really got spoiled our first little visit to Yosemite. So it was awesome. Jorge wants to know if I've ever looked into Oaxaca, Mexico. I have not. If they have an enduro there, that's like kind of my new criteria. I'm always try to be pretty generous with like, hey, if there's good riding there, I'll go. But now it's like, I got to raise the bar a little bit. Like it's hard to trust like, okay, yeah, there's good riding here. You can come. And it's all worked out so far. But now it's like, okay, if there's an enduro there and you look at the pics from the enduro and it's like, oh, they had like 5 stages or they had 3 days, or it starts to establish itself as a bona fide actual destination that would be great. Because the thing about these destinations, my goal, my dream is that you see it and you can go do it. For 99.99999% of you, this is just entertainment, and you never get out there and you never do it. So I don't know why I'm so hung up on that. I am just completely hung up on you actually having the ability to go out and do stuff. Like Kenya was an awesome trip, but nobody's gonna go and do that. Like it's just fiscal, like not fiscally, it's tough fiscally, but logistically, it would be a tough trip to pull off. I think I have all my Strava out there. Maybe somebody's done it. Like maybe you're studying in Nairobi and you're like, okay, I'm going to go take the bus up to Kijabi and make it happen. So, but it made for a great story, right? Am I a storyteller or am I a mountain bike guide, right? I'm more of a storyteller, but I just feel it in my bones that I don't want these videos to be fantasy videos. I want them to be real and that it's something you could do. And I want to like defend that to the death, that anything you see is something that is possible. Whether you have to go on a guided trip and you have to actually spend the money to do it, that's up to you. It's out there. It still is a possibility. It's not Yeti fantasy videos. Chase Rill wants to know, where would I like to film the next installment of Wheels Down? Bentonville, Arkansas would be a great one, and Bend, Oregon. Those are both places I haven't been to Bend at all. I stopped through one time, had Panda Express, and dropped off a couple of my Evo SS gimbals to Evo in Bend, and that was it. And then Northwest Arkansas, because it's just getting better and better all the time, and there's so many stories to tell there. So that would be my choice of a Wheels Down subject. Brian Raymond is a new subscriber and Patreon supporter, and he asked 2 questions. That's a huge boo-boo, Brian. We only allow 1 question, so I'm going to pick the better of the 2 questions that I think. His question is, if you were bringing a new young rider out, I'm also a beginning rider, but I ride with my 13-year-old son, what tips would you offer? So if you guys are in the same boat, that's actually kind of cool. So you're kind of learning together. The thing that's going to happen is that your 13-year-old son is going to start kicking your ass very, very soon. Once he actually finds it interesting and gets obsessed with it, you have no chance. But just take it nice and slow. It's actually good that you guys are also like beginners together and you share the experience and you try to figure it out. I think the best tip is to try to find someone, and pretty much it should maybe just pay a mountain bike coach. Do a search for mountain bike coaching in your area and see if you can get some one-on-one time or one-on-two time. Get a coach with you to kind of just ride with you guys and give you some tips, because you can take friends out. If you have some mountain biking friends, you try to get into the mountain biking community, you do some volunteer work, you work on some trails, and you just kind of put yourself out there. But paying, and it's going to be decently expensive for one-on-one time, but paying someone to tell you kind of what's wrong, what you need to work on, it will advance your skills very, very much. And both of you guys will get a lot out of it. So if you're willing to do it, it's already an expensive sport, expensive bikes, expensive gear, expensive coaching, the best money can buy. Ryan L. Marseilles has been around since 2,500 subs. Thank you for sticking around, for being here, buddy. And he wants to know, when am I going to do a BKXC ride festival? I like that idea. There's just so many other things, it's like, there's so many other things. But the idea of kind of getting something together, putting my name on it, maybe having someone else run it kind of thing, and just the gathering of the juggalos, the gathering of the nuggalos, there's something to that. There's definitely something, especially if it was like you knew it was going to happen once a year and it's here and everybody gets together and has fun and people had enough, time ahead of time to see that it was going to happen and get time off and all that stuff. To me, the perfect thing would be kind of in the off season, somewhere that's warm in the off season when everyone's just struggling with the snow or it's rainy here in California. Just finding somewhere like Phoenix or Tucson where it's like, it's February and it's 75 degrees and we're going to get some mountain biking going. So it's something I think about. It's not something that I put a ton of time and effort into, but it's always in the back of my mind. Tons of good questions this month. My voice is almost gone. You've run me dry. And I enjoy it every single month doing these questions and hanging out with you guys. It's I think this is probably better than the live stream because I can take a little more time. The live streams, I'm always like, hey, yeah. But the interaction is awesome. I love the interaction so much, and I love that you guys are here making this happen. Thanks so much. And I'm going to head to BC. I got some packing to do. It's 7 p.m. right now, and hopefully I won't be up till too late. Thanks for listening, you guys.